humans. Point number one, that was your question number one. Next in line, let us talk about the parasitic and the endocytic stage. When I talk about the parasitic stage, where the mesozoic formation is there, the Plasmodium falciparum will form roughly approximately 14,000 mesozoites, whereas all other Plasmodium, all other kinds of Plasmodium, they will form only 10 to 15 to 20,000 mesozoites. So 10,000 to 15,000 to 20,000. So you can remember 10 is from 10 to 20,000, 10,000 to 20,000 mesozoites. Right. Point number two. In the erythrocytic state, the erythrocytic cycle will take place. So the erythrocyte mesozoic chrysoid and the cycle is going to happen and they repeat the cycle. And this repeated cycle is point number two. Point number three, in fact, the first execute the second. Point number three is associated with the clinical features. The clinical features of heat in the fever, which is the right that is associated with the erythrocytic stage. Point number three, this stage is point number four. This stage also shows the differential cycle time. So the Plasmodium falciparum, the Plasmodium falciparum will have approximately Plasmodium falciparum will have 72 hours of the cycle time of the erythrocytic chrysogonia, whereas all other types of Plasmodium they have anything between 36 to 48 hours of chrysogonia. So malaria has the longest time and falciparum has the highest amount of mesozoites. These were four important messages over here. Now let us talk about something much more in detail about both these things, parasitic stage and the erythrocytic stage. What happens is there is something called the relapse. The relapse means in all English words it means coming back of the infection, right? So now what happens is that in case of Plasmodium vivax, the patient may show relapse after 1 to 3 years. The relapsing is because of a very important phenomenon that there are dormant hypnozoites. There are dormant hypnozoites. What do you mean by dormant hypnozoites? Some hypnozoites, some stage in the hepatocytic stage, some stage in the hepatocytic stage, they lie dormant. So these dormant mesozoites, these are called as the hypnozoites. Dormant mesozoites are called as the hypnozoites. So now there is a dormant hypnozoite. And it has been seen that these dormant hypnozoites will lie latent. They do not cause any disease, but after some years or months, they may get activated and may cause relapse. Okay, that is one phenomenon. It's not that the Plasmodium vivax and the Plasmodium protein may show kind of relapse after 1 to 3 years. So this relapse is because of the problem in the hepatocytic stage in the dormant hypnozoites. Now sometimes the relapse may also happen because of some other situation. What happens is, especially in the Plasmodium, what happens is that in the Plasmodium falciparum, we see that they may come back, they may be relapsed, which actually will compensate relapse. So the Plasmodium falciparum will come back after 1 to 5 years. Now it's not how years it comes back and we see that the stage was not there, there was no dormant hypnosis. So now what is the reason of the kind of a relapse, maybe kind of a relapse which is happening in falciparum? Relapse per se pertains to hypnosis. Relapse word it pertains to hypnosis. So what is the mechanism in falciparum? That is called as recrudescence. What do you mean by recrudescence? So the recrudescence is nothing but the relapse of the Plasmodium falciparum, right? This is like recrudescence. Interestingly, this recrudescence phenomena is because it's an interesting thing that the recrudescence is because of a low level mesozoic chrysoid, protozoite, chrysoid, this cycle, which is nothing at how big level. So sometimes because the drugs that they are not able to go out of the parasite very distinctly, like every parasite would not go out because of the antibiotic drugs. So we may have a low level of technical words. They say is low level of erythrocytic. There may be a low level of erythrocytic chrysogonia. So this erythrocytic chrysogonia, which is going to happen at the erythrocytic phase, this low level of erythrocytic chrysogonia is going to be responsible for recrudescence. This recrudescence is shown by both the Plasmodium falciparum and by the Plasmodium falciparum. So please note that the vivax and Covair will show relapse, which is real relapse, and the falciparum and the malaria will show kind of relapse, which is technically called as recrudescence. Recrudescence is a problem of the RBC cycle, and relapse is a problem of the hepatocytic cycle. Coming over to the next stage, point number 6, question number 6, or point number 5 we have discussed was regarding the relapse. Coming over to point number 6, in the glycocytic stage, what is important from the transmission point of view, from the population point of view? Please note that one person is a right? The person to be infected, causing infection in the mosquito, in the female of mosquito. So for the person to infect the female of mosquito, the glycocytes, both male and female, should be present. So both glycocytes should be present. Both glycocytes should be present. Or infecting the mosquito. Second point, the glycocyte level in the blood should be more than 12 glycocytes should be present. More than 12 glycocytes per millimeter cube of the blood should be there for a human to be able to transmit infection to the mosquito. And now this whole thing, the glycocytes will go into the mosquito, they form the overnitrosis and the create so. So now this game will come back to us with disclosure. That's how it is. Next MCQ point number 7. In the mosquito, for how many days will it take for the glycocytes entry and the spores to come out? It is usually said 10 to 12 days, but may vary plus minus 2 3 days depending on the immunity factors, depending on the environmental factors. So many things are there. But for your exam, you can remember that 10 to 12 days the mosquito will take for the glycocyte to happen. Spores, this is technical word. It is called as extrinsic incubation period. It is called as the extrinsic incubation period. So what is the extrinsic incubation period in malaria? Answer is 10 to 12 days of the mosquito cycle. Next is if this you know already in the mosquito cycle, if nobody got that in the cycle, if the spores are it comes and becomes the glycocyte, how many days will it take? But the simple words, minimum will take for the glycocytes ending and the spores will come out. It is usually said 10 to 12 days, but maybe plus minus 2 3 days depending on the immunity factors, depending on the environmental factors. So many things are there. But for your exam, you can remember that 10 to 12 days the mosquito will take for the glycocyte to happen. Spores this is technical word. It is called as extrinsic incubation period. It is called as the extrinsic incubation period. So what is the extrinsic incubation period in malaria? Answer is 10 to 12 days of mosquito cycle. Next is if you already side was. Minimum it is like 5 to 7 days. So the human cycle, minimum will be 5 to 7 days. Hospital cycle will be for 12 days. Total we say that there's a 20 day game. From public point of view, this gives me a very super duper important message. That is what I understand from this whole game of antibiotics. That if you keep the hospital within that 10 days, what will happen? If you keep the hospital within 10 to 20 days, this hospital now is finished. So now the transmission begin broken and it take another 5 to 7 days and another 10 days for the transmission to start back happening back again. So simple understanding, if you do fogging on Monday, where is the next level of fogging required? Do you require it again on Tuesday, Wednesday? Answer is no, you do not require it again on Tuesday or Wednesday, right? Because you have actually interrupted the cycle for the next 10 days. So you do one fogging only within 10 days. You do one fogging, then you do the next fogging after 10 days. So that's when probably the hospital will get infected again. I get it. So this is very important for us to find out that what is the expensive condition. So based on this, I think you can understand the agent factors that there is a minimum gametocyte infected dose. There is a minimum gametocyte infected dose. What is the gametocyte infected dose? More than 12 gametocytes should be there per unit millimeter of the blood. The person will remain infected as long as the gametocytes are there and provided that all the gametocytes are there. So the humans remain infected. The humans remain infected as long as both gametocytes are present. So that is your point number one. This is your point number two. Point number three. Who's the main reservoir of the malaria parasite? The main reservoir of the malaria parasites are humans only. They are the humans are the main reservoir, but we also have them in monkeys, in apes, in primates. Other primates may also be there. Who is the main source of infection? The source of infection could be an infected mosquito. We already understood that who will be infected mosquito takes the blood of more than 12 microsites. Infected mosquito, or it could be a human themselves. So human could be a source to the infection and to the anopheles, and the anopheles could give it back to the human. And the point number four is that the extrinsic incubation period phenomenon is there in the malaria parasite. The extrinsic incubation period is 10 to 12 days. That's the time for the mosquito to develop from the plasmodia, and the mosquito to develop from the mosquito. Spores are staying, and at this stage you can cut the chain of transmission. So chain of transmission is weakest at this point, and this we can take care in the vector network measures. Coming to the host factors, please note that the malaria has no age discrimination or no age predilection. Every age is equal exposed, but there can be certain excuse that age less than 6 months. Because the child is very newborn, age less than 6 months, there may be high fetal hemoglobin, and because there is high fetal hemoglobin, the fetal hemoglobin is actually resistant. It is resistant to Plasmodium falciparum, and therefore we may say that the falciparum chances in age less than 6 months is pretty low. Coming next to that was your point number one. Coming point number two, there are people with the sickle cell trait, with the AS trait, with the sickle cell trait, they may have a very wide form of infection. They may have a wider form of infection, especially with the Plasmodium falciparum infection. It may be very wide. Why? Because the sickle cell trait is known to have resistance, kind of resistance to the pathology of the falciparum community. Next is which of the following blood groups may be resistant? Absolutely one of the species, that is the Duffy negative RBCs. So the RBCs will have no that is the Duffy blood group antigen. If it is not there, they are resistant to Plasmodium vivax, because actually the vivax is going to bind to the Duffy blood group antigen. So if there is no Duffy blood group, they are resistant to Plasmodium vivax. The sickle cell trait will show mild infection. Another point is point number four about the immune status. What do you mean by the immune status? What happens is that in a hyperendemic area, in malaria, hyperendemic areas. Hyperendemic means there is huge, big number of hyperendemic areas like the falciparum is endemic in the northeastern states. So just imagine in areas which are hyperendemic, or there is more intensity of that plasmodia over there, what will happen to the immune level of the population? The immunity level of the population is going to increase. Why? Because there is a repeated exposure, or there may be suboptimal exposures. So in the immune status, status of the people, of the population, the immunoglobulins are already formed towards the Plasmodium falciparum or the vivax, whatever hyperendemic you are living. So the immune status is fine. So the chance of these people to have infection is very less. Or even if they get infection, it won't be like very, very severe infection. So the immune status is higher, and in malaria endemic areas, because of repeat exposures, the people, because of repeat exposure, the population may have decreased susceptibility to infection. Decrease susceptibility to infection could happen until there is a very high parasite load. Till that time, probably they won't get the infection. So that is about the immune status in the coastal practice. And the next one is about environmental practice. We know that the various ops there all the year. But what is the peak season? Peak months for malaria to happen? They usually happen after the summers are towards the end in India. That is from July till November, or till max till December. So this is the peak season, July till November, or in more temperate areas, more in southern part of India, might even by the December. But the peak season usually for bacteria is July to November. What is the malaria month that we have? Malaria month is observed in the month of June. In the month of June, because we want to observe malaria months, we want to do more awareness that July is coming. And when do you have the malaria day or the World Malaria Day? The World Malaria Day, the World Anti-Malaria Day. World Anti-Malaria Day is on 25th of April. We want to observe this 25th April just to tell everyone that the June is coming. So malaria is a big problem. You have the malaria months, you have the malaria month, and then you have the Anti-Malaria Day or the World Anti-Malaria Day. So as far as the more environmental factors are concerned, this mosquito is going to bite at a lot of quantity in this area. So if you're living high up on a mountain, if you're living on a mountain, this mosquito cannot fly up so high. So the mosquito will not be available for more than 2,000 to 2,500 meters. This mosquito is usually best within the temperature range of 16 to 30 degrees. 16 to 30 degrees Celsius is the best time of, and if you talk about the relative humidity, it loves to be in more humidity, like more than 60% relative humidity. It is going to stay, of course, not more than, it should not be, the humidity should not be more than 75. So 75% is causing the mosquito also probably inside. The relative humidity is around 60%. The best temperature is 16 to 30, and that is about the quantity factor. If you talk about the mode of transmission, transmission, that is when the body company is positive to the human, or the human gives back to the gives lymphocyte back to the blood and to the enophyte. We all know that mode of transmission it is moved by the female enophytes. The malaria is transmitted only by the female enophytes, but you respect the female enophytes are blood. They live on the blood, and the male mosquitoes, male enophytes, they only burn and see the juices and all those things. The female enophytes likes to suck blood. So mode of transmission could be a direct attack to the victim, or it could be also a very rare situation. So they have the continental malaria. Congenital malaria is particularly rare, that is transmitted from the mother to the baby. Next, there is another mode of transmission which could be transfusion related. Please note that in case the malaria is transfusion related, what does it mean? That means the trophozoites were already there in the blood, somebody's blood. So that is actually a trophozoite mediated. So trophozoites were already there in the blood. Somebody got a ready-made trophozoite. So they don't need to move that cycle. So they would be saying that the incubation period in a transfusion related malaria, it is almost half of the normal incubation period. It is 5 to 7 days, we say is the incubation period, because that is the time for trophozoite to the second function. Please also note that in case you have ever donated blood, still on the transfusion malaria, in case a person donates blood, in case of a donated blood, even if the blood is kept at -4 degrees Celsius, even if the blood is kept at -4 degrees Celsius, the plasmodium falciparum or the plasmodia may be available in the blood for more than 2 weeks. It may be available in the blood for more than 2 weeks. That is point one. Second is that in case a person already has disease. So in case of any case of a person already had malaria, or the person is coming from some malaria endemic area. So if the person comes from a malaria endemic area, in those situations, in both of these situations, please note that the blood transfusion department or US doctor should also know. They should make others also aware that these people should not. They should. It's not advice for them to donate blood. Do not donate blood. For knowledge fan, they should not be donating blood for at least 3 years. Why? Because the blood could be there could be a low level erythrocyte extract, whatever. So any case of malaria or any case of a person who's coming from malaria endemic areas, specifically the malaria endemic area, people they should not be donating blood for at least 3 years since they have left that malaria endemic zone. And if you donate blood, even at -4 degrees, the blood is going to survive. Next is what is the incubation period. Incubation can be remembered as FXO and FOXO. F stands for plasmodium. X is for the plasmodium vivax, O is for the plasmodium ovarian, and M is for the plasmodium malariae. So I have just remembered it this way: FSOM. This is where 14, 16, and 28 days. This is what we found as the incubation period. You already know that the transfusion-related malaria was only 5 to 8 days. That is for low trophozoite malaria. So that is regarding the incubation period. Point number 7 is for the victims. Now, different types of victims we know. Who is going to transmit malaria is only the female enophyte. So different types of victims we have. We can have anopheles, sleep-fancy. We can have anopheles, flu, Lee, Steve, ACS. We can have anopheles flu reactilis. We can also have anopheles sundialis. We can also have anopheles tears. So we have different types of species. I just told you some of the few types of the species which may transmit malaria. So you can have anopheles reactilis, flu reactilis, sundialis, people excuse on it. I have remembered this way. I'm sharing with you my own way. So you can anopheles fancy. When I was in school, in my study, we used to talk about the thing from the urban area. In urban areas, we usually have the same species, right? So anopheles fancy is urban malaria, urban victim. Just remember it. That's how I remember. Same people is found in the cities, right? Urban areas. Then yes, a lot of people in the rural area that many faces. So different faces in rural areas PVC patients. And for fluviatilis, and for forest area, fluviatilis is found in forest areas. It is also found in the foothills. You can remember fluviatilis in the foothills of forest areas. Sometimes where there is so much sun, where is more sun. It is in Andaman and Nicobar. It is in the coastal part of India. So a lot of different types of species may be found in different areas. I would also like to have another institute over here. In fact, 2 institutes over here that are of defense. And PVC patients, they are responsible for the most common type of office which is indicated as causing the malaria. Out of the urban malaria, you can ask fancy, which is more common. And the urban malaria is more commonly caused of which water source. Because in many areas, there won't be any stagnant waters, there won't be any rainfall at all. So, how many people get malaria in those areas? The most common way of getting urban malaria, because malaria was initially a rural disease. Now it's shifted from the urban disease. In urban areas, what is the most common reason for later transmission? That is the overheated tanks. The tank that we have, the water tank that we have usually at the top, if the latest one there, that is one of the biggest reasons for having urban transmission of malaria. You should also know that which of the following hospitals is one of the very aggressive hospitals. The anomalies will be at if you know about anomalies will be at this is known to have the highest efficiency. It is a very highly efficient hospital. That means even if you give it less blood, it will make more sponsored and hospital. So this hospital is a highly efficient, less time effective for it. So this highly efficient hospital, you need a more density or less density. For highly efficient hospital, you need a lesser density. Are you getting it? So even if you are following some hospitals, like in the national program, you learn that you do GIS. GIS stands for Geographic Information System. Geographic Information Systems. We actually have systems to track the level of the hospital in the area. So if you're tracking the level of the hospitals in the area, even if you have less amount of phobia, there could be chances of more malaria outbreaks. But on the other hand, talking about PCPs, these are rural hospitals, they are full. So they are not very, very efficient. They are not very, very efficient hospitals. This PCPs is low effective. You will see PCPs as low effectivity. It has low effectivity. And for it has low effectivity, when you think about density for public and public problem, they need to be getting at a very high density for them to work as a public health problem for us. So they need high density. Whereas if you have fluviatilis, that is a more aggressive hospital, that's a more efficient hospital, and we need lesser density to work as a public health problem or to pose as a public health problem for us. So that's a little bit of the discussion from a better point of view. Next is let's talk about the clinical features. You already must be knowing much in detail about the clinical features from medicine, pediatrics, from microbiology, from PSF also. So the clinical stages are three stages: first stage, second stage, and the third stage. So how many stages you see? Three stages. First stage is called as the fourth stage. Second is called as the hot stage, and third is called as the sweating stage. So in the fourth stage, the person is feeling cold. Hot is very hot, and sweating is he's sweating up. In the first stage, the person is feeling cold. There is chills and riders. But the point to be noted is that in the first and fourth stage, the person is mind over. The person will feel cold. The person will feel kind of cold. But is there a fever? Answer is yes. This is an extreme fever could be there for 100 days. As low as 100 days to as high as 104 days. There could be associated fever that is NFC. So in the fourth stage, the person will have chills and rider and feel cold. This stage is usually lasting for half an hour to 1 hour. In this stage, the person will feel kind of weak with a weak pulse. Person is feeling just to line up with a weak pulse. And the hallmark is there is rigors in this particular stage with a fever. So parasites will also be seen in this stage. In this stage, the parasites are seen in the blood, are seen in blood. In the cold stage, that is the onset of the symptomatology. Then you have is the hot stage. Then the person will land into hot stage. Now this hot stage, the person's skin is very hot. Skin is very hot. And this stage is one of the most long-lasting stage. It is from maybe 2 hours till 6 hours. And the person is very uncomfortable in this stage. The pulse, you can feel it. The pulse is very like full pulse, and it is a very strong pulse. So it is a rapid and a bounding full pulse. It's a bounding full pulse, which is rapid. And this stage will be for 2 to 6 hours. Of course, it's a hot stage. Will there be fever constants? Yes, there is fever from 101 to 104 degrees Celsius in this particular stage. In this sweating stage, this is the most comfortable stage for a person. And in this stage, there is no fever. The hallmark is, please note, these are two MCQs. It is the most comfortable stage. The hallmark is there is no fever. The person will know that there was a hot stage. And that was a very uncomfortable stage. And after that, the person is going to sleep. The person will sleep. Usually, the person will sleep in the sweating state. There is no sweat of that person because in hot stage there was no sweating. So in the sweating state there is a lot of sweat and the person is able to rest properly within from 2 to 5 hours. So that's what I like for most of your clinical features. Moving over to the next point, that is what are the complications. See, complications are too much immense in malaria. I'm going to want within a different chapter first. So just when this is some of the complications which may be important for your understanding is first there's one big complicated problem as a complication is anemia. So please note that in anemia also we had one of the intervention is to combat anemia for the non-nutritional causes. So to combat the non-nutritional cause of anemia. In that, they had included hemoglobin of the teams, thalassemia, they also included the flu losses, and they also included malaria. So malaria may cause anemia, which may pose a bigger problem on a complicated basis. So one is anemia. Second is they could also be direct organ damage. There could be hepatomegaly, or there could be splenomegaly. There could also be in severe cases, it could also land up in renal failures. So what happens is that malaria usually does not cause too many complications that treated at time. But malaria is specifically fulminant in people who have less immunity. It is fulminant in people in pregnant females. So in pregnant females, we may see a lot of complications, especially talking about renal failures, hepatomegaly, and it will also lead to meningitis, or in a Plasmodium classified, we have the black water fever. Another point which can be associated with the complications could be onset of the febrile herpes. So febrile herpes may be associated with the smaller hermetic reactions which we get around the mouth. And febrile herpes, again, talking about the immunodeficiency status and the stress level of the person. So all these were some of the complications of malaria. And that's all for this module about malaria. Because in the next one, we will talk more from the MCQ point. My friends, and let's take on the next chapter for the next topic. In this video, we will primarily talk about malaria control and diagnostic strategies. So please note that NPVDCT, that is the National Vector Disease Control Program, first execute, it contains all the diseases. It contains all six diseases: malaria, Japanese, and encephalitis. All are mosquito-borne except which one? All diseases are mosquito-borne except Al-Azhar, which is a sandfly transmitted. That is the important target is sandfly transmitted disease. All other diseases are mosquito. Next point. What are the targets? The targets under NPVDCT, they are called malaria. So the first target is to have API. What is API? Annual parasite. I stands for incidence. The common mistake which is done by students is one index is incidence. API, that is annual parasite incidence, should be less than 1/1,000. API will be less than 1/1,000. Also, we also want API. What is API? Annual body examination rate. So annual body examination rate should be more than 10%. Please note, it is more than 10% and not less than 10%. The target is to have microfilaria rate. Microfilaria rate is purely to the paralysis. We want microfilaria rate less than 1% among children. Less than 1% among children. And that is actually the level for paralysis elimination also. Next, fourth target is we want to control all other diseases. This is like dengue. We want to control chikungunya. We want to control Al-Azhar and Japanese encephalitis. Point number three. What are the strategies and the actual disease? In this video, we need the first disease that has been So talking about the strategies to control the area under the national program at the national level or country level or at least the state. So for executed in any national program, how to control the disease, the first concern will always be to diagnose the disease and treat the disease. So therefore, the strategy is always for the diagnosis. How do you diagnose the disease? The investigation of choice for media is to do a peripheral blood smear examination. It is to do a peripheral blood smear examination. Execute how many smears will be made? We make two smears, tick smear and the milk tick smear. Tick smear is for what? It is to identify the parasite. If the parasite is there or not there. Next is to identify the smear is made to identify the species of the plasmodium. Species. So how many species do we know? We know that many species like plasmodium vivax, plasmodium falciparum, whale, plasmodium palladium, plasmodium bovis. These are my plasmodium. Out of these five plasmodium, which is not seen in India. Please don't go for whale. Whale is out of India. The rest all of the whales are available in India. The plasmodium bovis, it is the most incidence and greatest rate found in India. It is predominantly from Indonesia, and also found in some areas like Andaman and Nicobar, and of course, Andaman and Nicobar, beautiful part of our country, and therefore we cannot say that this is not found in India. So, MCQ next question, the most common initiative found in India is plasmodium falciparum. And these are the incubation period days for different species. Generally speaking, India, the normal incubation period is roughly ranging from 9 to 13 days for almost all the species. So, different species are named for plasmodium. Next question. What is the stain that we use for public better question? The stain that we use is a GSP stain. What is GSP? It is just one same and Bhattacharya G string. Bhattacharya G string. The same. So the stain that we use is GSP. We can also use gypsa stain. Gypsa stain, but if you get a single sounds of these one GSP stain as available at the legal guidelines. Based on the species identification, we can also categorize the severity of the media on the slide examination. We have to categorize the severity of media based on 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, or 4 plus. So initially we see 100 fields. In 100 fields, in 100 Excel fields, if we find the parasites 1 to 10, 1 plus more than 10. Now, once you get more than 10 parasites in 100 fields, you should see every field also. In every field, if you are seeing 1 to 10 parasites, it is directly 1 to 10 parasites per field, it is directly 3 plus, and if you see more than 10 parasites per field, it is 4 plus. We categorize it as 4 plus. Area on severity scale. Next up,